Well, we were moving, we were constructing a house, and we planned the budget for it. It went like 40% higher. We had no money, but I was set on doing some smart home stuff. So I had very little budget and a lot of ideas. And mom is basically the requirement that when she visits us, she should also be able to handle our home. So these are two of my requirement providers, my mom and my daughter. Both of them should be able to use this. So my mom hates like electronic stuff in a sense that she enjoys her iPad for playing or reading, but when she cannot turn on a light switch with her hand, she gets upset. So everything in our house looks normal. Like here, everywhere you look on a switch or anything, it's totally normal. Then I got into some automation, so I have my automatic lawnmower. That's my son. Yeah, so jokes aside, now I hope everyone understands what we will talk about, but that's the reality. So make a kid and you don't have to automate. But how I ended up here. So the idea was that everyone talked about home automation, smart homes, everything like that, and smart lights, amazing. That's the biggest thing. Your light can be colored and it can turn on automatically by a smart light bulb. Wonderful. You put it in, you play with it for one day, and the second time someone comes in and turns it off at the switch, then you're upset because you lost all your light. It doesn't work anymore because it doesn't get power. So basically I knew that I want something that's really compatible with normal usage, like switches and normal people, and then it can be smart and automated. And I had a lot of small things that upset me in the day or just wanted to be lazy about it. For example, this one, at COVID you got used to like staying home always and picking up in the middle of a meeting a package. I think you are all familiar with it that, sorry, I just need to pick it up. Someone called me, postal guy. But as time passed by and we started moving into the office more, then the postal guy still comes, but I'm not at home, and then it's really hard to get to my package or staying home for that reason. So I wanted to be able to let the postal guy in. For example, one of my use cases was that I should be able to check who is coming. So very easy one is a remote doorbell that has a camera, and also to be able to let them in and have a safe space where they can put a package. It's very easy. Requires any smart doorbell, and that's it. And then I have a lot of other ones. We will deep dive into that in a moment. But I want to show you how my setup looks, basically. In the beginning, I started making notes. Every project starts with really strict planning, proper architectural diagrams, high-level, low-level designs, and there is always no budget for it and no time in the workplace, so I decided that I will be very good at making documentation. So the first IKEA box I found, I started making notes because I will transfer them to a very nice place. I will have my MAC addresses, IP addresses, where I put them. I will mark them with a specific code that I label them and put them on the device. Everything, it's still on this box to this very day. And as preparation for this meetup, I created an architectural diagram. So I looked up what actually the architect did, and I put some random devices on it. So yeah, documentation is close to zero, but it's pretty easy to find out when you use the devices and their actual networking and softwares. If I'm looking for my device and how to reach it directly, it's pretty easy to find. I will show you later on. So I don't miss the documentation that much, but it's a pity I didn't do it. So this is a part of what I have at home. You can look at the architectural diagrams and get a guess of how the house looks. Under here, we actually have a basic driveway where we can come in, and there is a garden on this side. I put the main devices on this, so you have an understanding how and why I have so many. Basically, most of these are Shelly devices. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Shelly devices, maybe hands up. Surprisingly small amount of people. They are really nice. They claim to be a robotics company, or at least they came from a robotics company and they created consumer devices after that, but their quality is pretty nice. Way more trustable than the first generation of Chinese things you could get for smart home automation. They are in Bulgaria, I think, and they had a really good price per performance ratio until I found that one of their products is prone to breaking down. So I have roughly 50 of their devices, I think right now. Yes?
Sorry, could you spell the...
Shelly. It's like a shell with a Y at the end.
Thanks.
And shelly.cloud is their web page. You will soon get a link. Actually, this is maybe the right time to give you that one. If you want to play with one of the devices, there is an LED controller right behind me, connected to 4 colors, so it's red, green, blue, and white LED strip. You can log in here with this user and password, and you can play with it, change the color, change the intensity behind me, whatever you want. Feel free to play with it. So they are one of the companies that contributed most to my setup. And this would be the place, very nice, where we could use my question, if it works, from Menti, but I guess it's still not there yet, because I wanted to ask you about what do you think, how much it cost, but we will come back to this. Don't check the prices. Let me go back to this one. If anyone needs the QR code, again, let me know. So everything that you see, these blue, black, and yellow small dots, these are shell devices. The blue ones are capable of controlling a single entity. It can actually withstand 16 amperes, so basically it can handle anything that your house can. The black ones can control 2. They are typically nice for roller shutters because they can control the up and the down direction as well. And the yellow ones are LED controllers. Yes. What else you can see here? So basically you see that each room has basically all the lights through this, all the roller shutters in the house are like this, and there are some other things. I will deep dive into the use cases, but feel free to ask questions if you want. So in this corner, you can see maybe these little white things. These are heat controllers, so this is for the floor heating, and the connected 3 Shellys are, since they can drive 2 each, there are 3 of them. And the other extra thing, I think what you may see here, is the Nuki device here. They have a funny name, Nuki, N-U-K-I, so it's just Nuki. Actually, you can check out the device in person because the office also uses one. It's a remote controllable smart lock. And the idea is that if you have a proper insert in your door, then it can just turn it around, so you don't have to have any kind of special door. You put in the key, then you put the device over the key, and it turns your key. So you can basically let anyone in or out of your house if you want. This is extremely convenient. For example, if you have any kind of person that can visit your home when you are not at home, maybe a babysitter, maybe someone cleaning, or any other, or like the neighbor needs a tool and you want to let him in. So it's amazing, I really love it. That was one of my first devices because when we did have the construction going, at some point we had to let in different contractors who fix stuff up. But some of them were not so trustable, so after each of them you would have to switch keys. Because they lose it, they take it home, and it started to be very painful. And basically we decided that this is the solution. Please turn off the flashing one, thank you so much. Yeah, so that's one I really like. In the break I'm happy to show you the device in real life if you're interested. And there is a Raspberry Pi. There's the Home. Actually, it runs Home Assistant. I don't have any slides about Home Assistant, but we will do a little bit of demo so you can look at it. Because everything I want it to be compatible also with my wife, of course. There is no picture about her, I'm sorry. But the idea is that we use Apple devices at home right now, and that sounded the most convenient to have everything through Apple HomeKit. So, if I look at it, this is, sorry for the bad quality, it should clean up soon. So this is the HomeKit interface or Apple Home interface inside. And here are all the devices in the rooms and statuses. And basically she can do it also on her phone. You can ask the system to do stuff, for example, when she's at home. She just says, open the gate, and she can park. The gate opens. If it's night, then the lights come up on the outside. So it's very convenient and also compatible with her. But none of the devices support HomeKit natively because at the time they had to pay a fee for it. So I needed some central hub that handles it, and that is the Raspberry Pi running Home Assistant. And I think that is the architecture, or anything I wanted to say about it in a very high level. Yes, so how I started, this was still at our first place when we were working on the shutters, and I asked the contractor who provided the roller shutters to give me a free running motor so I can try out how the Shelly can handle it and if it's up to my expectations. So basically what I learned, and it's really nice, that it doesn't matter how you contact the physical switch and the Shelly, because it lets you from software decide, okay, my switch is upside down, please inverse it. Oh, in my software, the up direction and down direction is in a different order than how the contractor wired the motor. It's okay, there is a switch for that. So basically, however you put it in, you just have two checkboxes to play with, and then it works fine. And it also learns the endpoints, even if your roller shutter has physical stops. So basically, it checks and it starts to draw too much energy because the motor gets stuck. It stops and it knows it's the endpoint. And then after that point, you can just tell your favorite assistant that you want your shutter at 35%, and it will set it to 35%. So it's really, really convenient. This is how it looks behind the switch. So you can see that there is a switch. It gets connected through the device. All the other cable run directly to the device. And this you all put in the wall, and you have zero visibility from outside that it's a smart installation. Again, one from the wall. Here you cannot see the device because it's already inside. One of the fun failures I had. I have neutral everywhere, that's not an issue, but we have 3 phases at home. And there is one light outside, which can be controlled from outside and inside, but the 2 switches are like 4 meters apart. Lovely, no issues, because normally you would say that you provide the device before, or you actually, if you have the power and the neutral at the last point stable way, then you can just put the Shelly device before the lamp. So whatever it receives after the double switching is the information that it needs. It has the power to turn on the light. But what happens if the phase coming from the switch is different than the phase that you have available constantly at the point? It's not an issue because the blue Shelly device has dry contact, so the input and output is totally separated from everything else. Yes, but the line for the device to receive power is in the same electrical circuit as the switching. And what happens when you leave this light open too long? The blue device becomes black and it smells really bad in the wall. So that was a hard learning, that you don't play with 2 separate phases unless you are very, very, very sure of what you are doing. Luckily nothing crazy happened. The device has heat protection and stuff like that, so it turned itself off after a little burn. This is how my lights work. This is very interesting for me. I really hate when I look at the light and I see a really bright bulb. I like reflected light a lot better, and I had set myself that my first thing I do is actually a light that is good enough to illuminate the whole living room, which is like, with the kitchen is 35 square meters, but I don't see any light bulbs. So I decided on to have LED strips, really high quality LED strips with very good color reproduction all around, and pointing upwards. I think I have a picture here. You can see on the top where it should be, but maybe not on this picture. Yeah, here on this one you can see it in the reflection and also on the top corner. But and here you can also see the roller shutter has just a normal button. And the idea was that, okay, this is nice, but I needed a device that can provide enough light and handle it. These LED strips are, I had tried with 2. One was 20 amperes per meter. The other was 10 amperes per meter. 20 was way too bright even in this setup, so it's 10 amperes per meter. But even then, the room circumference would require 400 sorry, I was not amperes, watts. So it would require 400 watts to run. And fun fact, one of these shells, if you use 24 volts, it can handle more than 200 watts in its own. So I actually managed to solve it with 2 of the AC/DC converters and 2 of the Shelly devices. I didn't expect to be able to do that. If you use it only for white, you get 4 channels separately, each of them. I don't remember the amperage maximum it can take, but I think it's 250 watts for the whole device through the 4 channels. So I was very pleasantly surprised I could make it happen, and that is one of my favorite solutions. And I just put in a single switch, which can control the brightness while long pressing, and you can just turn it on off by a single press. So the other thing what I wanted to show, just a small automation, very small. I don't have anything crazy in the use cases part. It's just practicality that I shoot for. So TV, very bright. During the night, I wanted some other light, but I was lazy to always switch it on. So I wrote a small function in Home Assistant that pings the TV IP address, because it's when the TV is on, it's reachable. When it's not answering pings. And whenever the ping is answered, then it turns on. And if the ping is not answered for 15 seconds, then it turns off. And this is the light that I brought you here to play with. This is behind my TV in its normal behavior. And it's very, very convenient. Yes. I wanted to play a game with you here, which is what smart devices you can see here, but I already spoiled all of them, so this is not a picture for that. Petroheim with time, I think pretty over.
Not over, but like we're close to the end.
Okay, so I said a lot of content. I'm happy to share whichever interests you, but I will show you a few more of these small and practical use cases. So we decided to get a big pool. So nice. What you need to do with big pools? Always circulate them. But not always, because it's a waste of electricity. It has no switches, anything, you plug it in or pull it out, but it's perfect for a Shelly automation. Basically, I set it that every 12 hours or every 10 hours, it should run for 2 hours. Took me 10 minutes to do. Wire it up, set it up, does it on its own. It doesn't even need to be added to Wi-Fi if you don't want to. I sometimes turn it on manually when I put in a lot of chemicals to make it clean, then for it to do it when I want it to, not when it wants it to. Very simple, very convenient. Other thing, there are some of these devices that can measure power consumption. When I first had a plug-in hybrid, it's an Opel Ampere, so it has a little battery, but it in theory charges with 16 watts, and I wasn't sure how much it draws and how it works. I just added an extension cord before the charger and had the chance to measure it for myself. When I couldn't park inside and I parked at my neighbor and charged at my neighbor, I used this to measure how many bottles of whiskey I have to give after to compensate for the electricity used. This one, so this is the heating, which I partially touched upon. So it's this is the setup. You have 8, or I have 8 rounds in the floor and one switch, and there is a remote control for this switch where you can set up the wanted temperature in one room, and the whole house based on that. So what I decided to do, that I want this to be separate for each room. I told the contractor I want this in separate in each room, and told them how I want them layered and stuff like that. And then after 3 weeks he said it's done, and it was totally different. Especially the rooms that I really wanted to be separated, as the bathrooms, for example, where it has hard like tile flooring, which can get cold, so I would turn it on much sooner than the rest of the house, are together with my daughter's room. So I either cook my daughter or the tiles are cool. Not fun. So that was the first failure. Then actually the contractor was not so happy, and they drilled holes in it because the general contractor didn't pay them, but that's a story for a beer. But what needed to be done is somehow automate this. So I bought these Honeywell devices, And basically how they work is that they provide heat from electricity, and if heat is applied, then it moves the valve, and the channel is open for the hot water to go through. So 2 of these is set up to a black Shelly, and I can automate, control, and whatever I want to do with them. What is fun to know about this is that you always have to have at least one circle that is not closed, because then you can mess up your boiler. And the other thing is that I can do with this whatever I want if I don't turn on the boiler. So I had to find a way to turn on the boiler as well at the same time when I want heating, and this was the interesting part of the automation, because I needed to make it in a way that whenever one of the rooms requests heating, then I also apply the boiler, but it doesn't stay on forever, and then I had to plan when they turn off. So what I ended up doing without hacking the boiler itself, I actually, sorry, other direction. I added a few more cables to this one, and I'm faking the device's own remote control signals, basically. So luckily, it's very simple. You just have to apply 240 volts at some place. So luckily, it worked out well. This is my trial when I played with it, so you can see that the temperature sensor is on the door. And, 3 wires outside, so this is how to freak out your wife. That was a disconnected wire. This is what the Shelly would have used to switch on something, because previously it was used for the Christmas tree to be on when we wake up and be off when we go to sleep, but it shouldn't go all the way during the night because it's wasteful, or during the day. But it was empty at the time. Yes, gate control. You have a Shelly in your house, you have a gate 50 meters away, you have 2 options. You put up a really strong AP, or you buy a lot of UTP cable because it's cheap, and you run 50 meters of UTP outside, and I can control my gate from anywhere. As in the first picture you have seen, to let in people, or I can open it from the car easily, and it opens by the time I get there. And I didn't have to put Wi-Fi on the street. That's again a risk, to put your own Wi-Fi on the street, for example. This way is not there. This is, I think, just for the light switches and the nice cat. So this is how every light switch looks in the house. There is literally nothing visible from the smart automation. And I have, I think, one last use case, if I still fit in the time. Baby camera, obvious kind of, but the baby gets bigger and becomes a kid, and they want to come out of that room, and they don't understand the clock. So when you have a lot of these smart devices and lights, then you can make such a device for yourself. So when it's time to sleep, if they wake up in the middle of the night, it's always dark because of the shades. They know that even if it's red, they shouldn't wake you up. They should stay in bed. And if it's green, they can come out and wake you up. And there is also orange, when you should get ready to go to sleep. Or please don't wake mommy up, but you are almost there, play in your room, you don't have to sleep anymore. Yes, the Christmas tree, and some outdoor lights that turn on when the light goes out, and the stupid light that needed to be cut at the right place. Some more lights and a cat. And I think I have shown you this UI, and I'm out of pictures. So in the break, if someone is interested, I can show them this is how it looks in Home Assistant. I don't use this UI, but you can see how much information the devices provide in Home Assistant. And that's it, basically. So yes, sorry for being over time, but I hope you enjoyed it.